If you've ever worked in a big company, chances are you've run into Citrix, and you've probably felt that frustration, right? It can feel slow, clunky, and just so locked down. But what if I told you all those restrictions are actually there for a really good reason? In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain, look at the logic behind the lockdown, and hopefully turn that frustration into a real aha moment. So, this is the big one. This is the question everybody asks. From the person just trying to get their work done to the IT admin who has to manage the whole thing. It feels like every simple little task has this unnecessary barrier thrown in the way. Ugh, yeah. The classic copy and paste problem. You're working on something, maybe in a remote session, and you just want to grab a little bit of text or a small file and bring it over to your own machine. So you hit Control-C, you switch windows, you hit Control-V, and nothing. It's gone. Why would they block something so basic? Or how about this one? You've been there, I'm sure. You plug in a USB drive to quickly get a presentation, expecting it to pop right up, and it's a ghost. The system acts like it's not even there. And that's not just annoying, it can feel like a major roadblock when you're just trying to do your job. And of course, there's the constant nagging for another code, another tap on your phone app. You just did this an hour ago. It almost feels personal, like the system just flat out doesn't trust you. And you know what? In a way, that's kind of the whole point. And that brings us to the core idea, the big trade-off. See, on one hand, you've got convenience, ease of use. On the other, you've got protection. Citrix was fundamentally built to always let the protection side win. Its entire reason for existing is security, period. So here's our game plan for today. We've already talked about the common complaints. Next, we're going to step inside what I call the digital fortress to really get its design. Then we'll see how the gates are guarded, learn to think like the person who built the fortress, and finally, we'll see why knowing all of this is actually a huge advantage for your career. Okay, so let's start by digging into that frustration. Where does it come from? Well, it's because we're usually comparing Citrix to our own personal computers, right? Where we can do whatever we want. But Citrix wasn't built for that. It was built for a whole different world. It was engineered for places where the stakes are incredibly high. I mean, think about it. Banks that are handling all of our financial data. Hospitals protecting our private medical records. Governments securing classified information. In these places, a data leak isn't just an oops, it's an absolute catastrophe. So, to really understand how Citrix protects all this important data, let's use an analogy. Let's imagine your company's network is a massive digital fortress. All the treasure, all that sensitive data, is locked away safely inside. Now your laptop, your home Wi-Fi, the network at the coffee shop, from a security standpoint, all of that is the untrusted zone. The fortress can't trust any of it. So Citrix's whole job is to build a secure bridge that lets you see the data and work with the data, but without ever letting that treasure actually leave the fortress. You're basically just watching a super secure video feed of your desktop. The data itself never comes out to play. And that right there explains so much. The entire strategy has a name: Data Loss Prevention, or DLP. You can think of it as the official rulebook for the fortress guards. Every single policy, like blocking copy-paste, is designed with one goal in mind: to stop anyone from smuggling the treasure out of the gates. Okay, so we've built our fortress. Now let's go meet the guards. We're going to look at the specific rules they enforce at the gates, and most importantly, why they enforce them. Think of multi-factor authentication, MFA, as the gatekeeper demanding a second piece of ID. A stolen password is like a stolen key. Sure, the attacker might have the key, but when the gatekeeper also asks for that secret code from your phone, the attacker is just stuck. They're stopped cold. It adds a couple of seconds to your day, but it builds a massive wall against them. And what about that blocked USB drive? Well, in our fortress, an unknown USB stick is like a mysterious, unmarked wagon rolling up to the gates. The guards have no idea what's inside. It could be hiding malware that could infect the whole kingdom, or it could be used to sneak treasure out. So what's the safest move? Deny entry. It's just simple contraband control. And finally, why does your session log you out after 15 minutes? Well, imagine a guard leaving the main gate to the fortress wide open while they just wander off for lunch. That is exactly what an unlocked, unattended computer is. Session timeouts are just the system automatically closing and locking the gate when it sees nobody's on watch. All right, this next part, this is the key to the whole thing. So far, we've been looking at this through the eyes of a frustrated user. Now we're going to put on a different hat. We're going to step into the shoes of the architect, the person who designed the fortress, and see it from their point of view.
And this is what that mindset shift looks like. It's powerful. You stop asking the old question, why is Citrix blocking me from doing this? And you start asking a new question, what risk is this feature preventing? That simple change reframes the entire experience. You're no longer seeing a wall, you're seeing a shield.
So what? Why does this even matter? Why should you spend time understanding the why behind all this? Because, believe it or not, this knowledge has real, tangible value, especially if you work anywhere in the world of technology.
Being the person who can explain this logic makes you stand out. In a job interview, it shows you think bigger than just simple tasks. In a meeting with your bosses, it shows you understand a business risk. Look, lots of people can follow rules, but the ones who can explain the wisdom behind the rules, that shows a whole other level of professional maturity.
So let's boil all of this down. If you forget everything else we've talked about, please just remember this one single powerful idea. This is the big one. Here it is. The system feels locked down because it is built on one simple, unwavering assumption. The risk is real. It operates as if hackers, malware, and data breaches aren't just things you read about in the news. They are constant active threats banging on the gates every single day. So the next time you or maybe a coworker feels that friction and that frustration, just remember this. The system isn't trying to be difficult. It's being diligent. It's strict for one simple reason, because it's standing guard over something incredibly valuable. And understanding that, well, that's the key to mastering the system, not just fighting against it.
Hi everyone. First of all, thank you for watching this video. My name is Naresh. I am the content creator behind this YouTube channel. I have created a community for Citrix learners where I will be posting a lot of details on Citrix products and how to work in Citrix environments. I'm going to mention the link in the video description so you can click on that link and you can become part of the community. All right, see you soon. Bye bye.